Then on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 6 matchup between the Arizona State Sun Devils and the Colorado Buffaloes. Two Pac-12 teams that have got very different storylines looking forward to Week 6. You got Colorado. This is a team that obviously started the season 3-0, one of the loudest teams in college football so far this season. Just an incredible story so far, but they've taken 2 losses since, and this team is trying to get back on the right track in Week 6 as they take on Arizona State. This Arizona State team is 1-4 on the season. Just a challenging season for this team, obviously in a rebuild phase, but massive opportunity for the Sun Devils taking on a much improved Colorado team. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Let's get started with their team trends. Colorado lost to USC last week, 41-48. The score turned out to be really close. I mean, it was within a touchdown at the very end, but for the majority of that game, USC was dominant, and Colorado found a way, and they fought hard in the second half to bring it within a touchdown for the final score. But past couple of games have been rough for Colorado, taking on Oregon and USC, two of the top teams in the conference. Two teams that very well could be in the college football playoff this season. So, I mean, for the Buffs at this point, being 3-2 overall, 0-2 in conference, I mean, it's been a rough last couple of games for this team, but we have seen what this team can do in the first 3 games of the season. They were very impressive and really proved a lot of people wrong in early September. So, I mean, all things considered, this is still a good Colorado team that is very much capable of making it to a pretty good bowl game. Even though, I mean, the Pac-12 is just so competitive this season. This is the one year where the Pac-12 is just loaded with teams. Like last season, you had 6 teams at the top that were pretty good. This year, it's 8 or 9. You got 8 or 9 really good teams in the Pac-12 this season. So it's very competitive, but the Buffs can still definitely stand out in the conference. But the thing is, and we'll talk more about this in a sec, but the defense will have to be better. But for Arizona State on the other side, lost at Cal on the road 21-24, 1-4 on this season. This team won in Week 1, but otherwise it's been a challenging start to the season for the Sun Devils. Your game's going to be on Saturday, October 7th in Tempe. So Arizona State, the home team for this one, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. Spread's going with Colorado here by 4. So, I mean, the Buffs, this is something that we have seen multiple times this season. They've hardly been a favorite against a lot of football teams. I mean, you remember the Nebraska game where the Buffs were only favored by 2, and I mean, even against Oregon, heavy underdog, same with USC, and here we are against Arizona State, a 1-4 Arizona State team, and the Buffs are only favored by 4. So I can imagine a lot of bettors are going to be thinking, take Colorado, hammer the Buffs on this one, and I mean, honestly, that's not a very bad argument. I think Colorado is definitely in a much better position than ASU is right now. But your over-under is 60. FBI is going with the Buffs as well, 64.7%. Your series history, Arizona State leads at 10-3. We've seen Sun Devils win the past 2 matchups and 3 of the past 5. Second comparison for this one, Colorado 29th in the country in points per game this season. This is a strong team offensively when it comes to the passing game. That's really where this team shines. And I mean, 5 games in, we kind of know a lot about who football teams are at this point and where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are. And for Colorado, their main strength is the passing game. And otherwise, it's just been a bit of a struggle so far this season. This team is 120th in rush yards a game. Obviously, the lead rusher is Dylan Edwards, but he really just hasn't had much success this season. But obviously, when you got Shedeur Sanders playing as well as he has, I mean, that's truly what all this team really needs offensively. But obviously, that kind of makes for a one-dimensional offense, and that's something that a lot of defenses can take advantage of, especially if you're taking on strong, higher-level football teams like, for example, Oregon and USC, like we saw the past couple of weeks, even though Colorado in the second half found a way against USC's defense. But rushing game has been a struggle. Pass defense has definitely been a struggle. Taking on Caleb Williams last week. This Buffs defense really had a lot of trouble, 123rd in the country there. But rush defense is now in the top 70, so not terrible there. But once again, the main strength for the Buffs is obviously the passing game with Shedeur and a talented receiving core. But for Arizona State, this is a team that offensively has really struggled. 120th in the country in points per game, 122nd in rush yards a game. The passing game hasn't been terrible, 57th in the country there. And defensively, this team is halfway decent against the pass, but against the rush, not so much. Your recent matchups, Colorado lost USC by a touchdown, lost Oregon 6-42. That was Brutal loss there. Oregon's a very tough football team, very much capable of going all the way this season. They're built to win. Bo Nix, a really strong team all around. And I mean, you still can't forget, though, the first three matchups, beating TCU on the road, beating Nebraska 36-14, and obviously the win over CSU as well. I mean, this team has proven that they can be dangerous, and we saw that in those first three games. And so, I mean, all things considered, this is a team that still should not be counted out quite yet, even though, obviously, I mean, I think expectations have been a bit limited the past couple of weeks, or especially after the past couple of weeks. But, I mean, this is still a solid football team capable of doing great things this season, I really do think. But your key points, Colorado 3-2. Shedeur in pass game is the one true strength of this team. That's what we've kind of learned the past couple of weeks. And, I mean, defensively, this team still has to work through a lot, the rushing game and everything. I mean, that's something that should be expected, though, as well. I mean, you consider where Colorado has been. It's honestly incredible enough that this team is 3-2 right now, based on Deion completely running an overhaul of this team this past offseason. So it's honestly been incredible what this team has done so far, and I feel like the future is very, very bright for Colorado. I know this season, I feel like this season their ceiling is, at this point, it's probably 7 or 8 wins in the regular season. Just, you look at both sides of the ball, that just kind of, that's just the way it seems right now. But, I mean, the future is very bright, though, I think, for Colorado moving forward as they head off to the Big 12. And, I mean, we'll be seeing these two teams play each other in the Big 12 in the future. So this matchup is not over by any means. But the Pac-12 is the conference of star offenses, that is for sure. You consider USC, Oregon, Washington State, even Oregon State. Throw them in there. I mean, even UCLA is pretty good offensively. So, I mean, a lot of really talented offenses in the Pac-12. And for Colorado being a team that really just is not great defensively, that's an issue, being in the Pac-12 and not having a very good defense, because you're just going to get, I mean, look at the last couple of weeks, 48 allowed against USC and then 42 against Oregon. So, I mean, all things considered, Colorado, this is a critical game for them to get back on track and hopefully still make the most of what is a special season for this team. But for Arizona State, while the Pac-12 has shined, Arizona State is not. This is a team that has been a contender in the Pac-12 in recent years, but this season, obviously, it's first-year head coach and everything going on, and it's just been a bit of a struggle for the Sun Devils. But I still think the future is bright for the Sun Devils in the Big 12. It just is going to take a bit of time to rebuild. But they lack depth. They have struggled on both sides of the ball. Colorado is just all around, I would say, a more talented team here. But I will say this, too. The last couple of weeks, this team has been competitive. They have not really given up the past couple of weeks. They've lost both games to USC and Cal, but they've been competitive in both. So you can't count out ASU by any means in this matchup. They got the home field advantage, and this is a winnable test, I think, for Arizona State as well, and something that really could build some nice momentum to this team right now. But with that, let's get the predictions here for Colorado and Arizona State. Looking forward to Week 6. Definitely a huge matchup for both sides, and with that, I'm going with the Buffs here. 38-31 is my predicted final score, and I do think we see another high-scoring battle for Colorado. I think Arizona State hangs in there. I think they make it a close matchup, and it's going to be close till the end, but I think the Buffs find a way. This offense, Shedeur is a talented enough quarterback. I think he finds a way and leads his offense to a win. But defensively, the defense has been an issue for Colorado so far this season. There's no hiding that. This is one of the worst defenses in the country. I think Arizona State hangs in there. They score 31 and keep it within a touchdown, but in the end, Colorado finds a way. 60% chance of them taking the win here. I think the over hits as well. I think, honestly, the over is something I'm very confident in. Honestly, I think if you think Arizona State's going to win this matchup, probably take the under, but if you think the Buffs are going to win like many do, I'd be pretty comfortable taking the over. I think we definitely get over 60, but I've got Buffs covering the spread in the end, and they get the win 38-31. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. Who wins this matchup, and your score predictions and all that. Let me know in the comments. Appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.